and there are places like this, is that what is it that makes it such a magnet? Like, what is it that draws people that are going to commit these acts in such a concentration? Like, what is it that they are looking for or they like so much?
Well, they live in Texas, so.
It's Texas.
I'm not just blaming it on Texas. For once, I'm not actually blaming Texas.
Well, Houston actually is a very, very large city, and it's very close to Houston.
Yeah.
So
40, 50 miles away. I mean, it is the feeder route from Galveston to Houston. But my point is, like, okay, if it's just proximity to Houston, then why isn't the next 50 miles up the interstate from Houston littered with bodies in the same way? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
why aren't they evenly distributed or even clustered a little bit closer to Houston? Maybe?
Or it's like, and there's the Highway of Tears. I mean, it's the same day. It's like, it's scary. It's like, what is it? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's hot. It's secluded. It's got bogs and bodies of water that a body will decompose quickly in, and I don't know. It's scary. I don't like it.
Are you saying that it's kind of the perfect storm of the place to dispose of? That's what's drawing these guys, is that they realize it's a good place?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I would.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if I was going to get scientific about it, I would look at I-95, go to the Texas Department of Transportation, get the traffic.
45.
I-45.
Did I say 95?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, 45 to get traffic counts and just see what traffic counts are like along our stretch. It may be that maybe the traffic just 5-10 miles further north, closer to Houston, is a lot heavier. And that in itself makes it a more attractive place.
But these girls also disappeared from places that were close to there. They weren't disappearing from Houston. They weren't, it's not as though it's a dumping ground for bodies from Houston.
Could have been a local too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's scary. It's all scary. There's no good answer. It's all just scary answers.
I mean, we can step around this for the next 10 minutes, asking the same question in different ways and giving the same answer. The whole in the long and the short of it is, it's disturbing.
Well,
it feels like things have dropped off in the killing fields, in the Texas killing fields, and yet when I look at the lists, I mean, like I said, the list I used was curated by somebody else, and a list that was curated by yet another individual has things that are in the 2010s that are in that region. So I don't know that it's actually ended, and I don't know.
Well,
long story short, avoid that area.
Yeah, it is.
If you live in the Galveston to Houston area, please move.
Well, that area
apparently is not a good area.
Well, it's it may be that somebody's still killing with dumping somewhere else, because that area is not as desolate as it used to be. If you look at the area, there's a lot.
It is subdivisions.
A lot of subdivision development in the area, right nearby. I mean, very close by.
That really confused me at first. I was like, what? How is this a great place to dump bodies? And then I know we've talked about this before. I go on Google Earth and I go back to the satellite footage from 10, 15, 20 years ago, and suddenly you realize all those subdivisions just didn't exist.
Pretty recent stuff, yeah. And so, that might be one reason the bodies are going somewhere else nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, any last thoughts for either of you? I know we've kind of chewed this up most.
It occurs to me we haven't blamed Chupi in a while, so,
You think it's the Chupacabra?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, I don't think that's it, but we'll let it stand.
Okay.
We never turned away a theory.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Well, I will have links to some of the research for today's show on our website. Website, of course, is thinkingsidewayspodcast.com. On that website, you're going to find a couple of things that are going to be of interest to you. One is the episode list. So there is a list, an extra page or a separate page in our website that has a full list of all episodes that we have put out. On that right-hand panel, you're also going to find links to merchandise, shirts, mugs. We haven't yet got plush dolls, but maybe someday that'll happen.
Action figures. Joe Steve Devin action figures.
I really want to get action figures. I just haven't figured out how to make it happen.
We will soon.
We are available. This episode is available for streaming or download off the website. It's also available through a whole host of other places. So anywhere that you can stream podcasts or subscribe to podcasts, we're going to be there. So Google Play or Stitcher, or if you subscribe and download, that would be something like iTunes. all of those are available. We're always there. If that avenue allows you to rate the podcast, please do rate and review, because that's how other people find us. We are in a number of places on social media. We have the Reddit account, which there's discussions of episodes. It's the Reddit subreddit.
Yeah.
I cannot easy words escape my small brain today.
I know, it's okay.
I'm getting used to it. Wait till I screw up Twitter.
What about the Twitter?
Yes, the Twitter. So we have a tweet, we do have a Twitter account. It is Thinking Sideways, without the G in the middle, where we do put out a lot of different stuff. We're also going to be on Facebook, so we have the Facebook page and the Facebook group. So like the page, join the group. In the group, you'll be able to talk to other members about past cases and cases that we've never talked about. So a lot of good discussions going on in there. If you want to get a hold of us directly, you're more than welcome to do that. We do have an email address.
That's right, we do, don't we?
We do. It's thinkingsidewayspodcast@gmail.com. So if you have episode suggestions, you have questions, you have concerns, you'd like to be an expert for us because you have a field where you know that you can share that information with us, send that to us at that email address.
Please.
That is all of the stuff that I have on my laundry list here today. So I'm going to say goodnight to everybody.
Yeah, sleep well.
Yeah, adios.
This episode of Thinking Sideways is not brought to you by our Facebook interpretive dance team. Instead, it's brought to you by meeting us at CrimeCon. That's right, CrimeCon, Nashville, Tennessee, USA, May 4th through 6th. We're going to have a live show. There's still day tickets available, and if you go to crimecon.com and use the promo code SIDEWAYS, you'll get a good deal on those day passes. Also, we're doing a meetup in Nashville, venue to be determined, Saturday night. Plan on being there. There might probably be a pretty exciting surprise there, so stay tuned for that. So go to crimecon.com to get your tickets. Use the promo code SIDEWAYS. We'll see you there. This episode is also brought to you by Stitcher Premium. That's right, we're on Stitcher Premium. If you want to get ad-free content early and bonus content, feel free to join us on Stitcher Premium. You can go to stitcher.com/thinkingsideways and use the code SIDEWAYS for 1 month free. So, stitcher.com/thinkingsideways, use the promo code SIDEWAYS, and yeah, you know you want to, so get on it.
Thinking Sideways. Hi there. Welcome to another episode of Thinking Sideways. I'm Joe, joined, as always, by
Steve
and Devin.
And, of course, we're going to talk about a mystery.
Yeah.
Yay! I know. Okay, so this week we're going to talk about a little mass murder that happened about 5 years ago in France. This has been in the news actually quite a bit, so you may have heard of it. It happened September 2012 in the French Alps, several miles south of Lake Annecy, which I'm probably mispronouncing. Oh yeah, now it's time for the warning. This contains a lot of French words, which I'm going to mispronounce.
Yep.
So that's about it. Okay.
We did our best, but it's hard to make it stick.
Yeah, French is weird.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so listener discretion is advised. Okay.
Parlez-vous français?
Yeah.
That's all I get. That's all I know.
Yeah,
that and baguette.
Donde está el baño? That's my French right there. Yeah. Okay, back to Lake Annecy. So Lake Annecy is this really beautiful lake. I don't know if you guys took a look at it on Google or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Really, really beautiful place in the Alps, and about 40 miles, not even 40 miles, 20 miles south of Geneva, Switzerland, way over in the east of France. Of course, the mystery I'm talking about, of course, is the Annecy shootings, also known as the Chevaline killings, because that's the little village that it was kind of close to. Before we go any further, I'm going to give a hat tip to a few of our listeners who suggested this topic, actually Annie, and some others. I know a lot of people have suggested this to us, but when I looked on the list, I only saw Annie's name on it. So all the rest of you, hey, thanks. So this is a popular one, and I've been following the story for a while now, and it recently has popped up back in the news because they have a new suspect. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not.
Yep.
But it's still looking to be like they're not going to solve it anytime soon.
Nah.
I don't think.
Which is why we're confidently doing an episode on it.
Yeah, I think so.
Very excited for it to be solved a week before we release this.
Yes.
Yeah, wouldn't that be? Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a great track record? Every week we go to put one out and they solve it the week before.
You know what?
They would start sending cases to us.
I was going to say, genuinely, I really would, though, because that would just mean, so much less pain in this world for people. So.
That's true. It'd be a good thing. It'd just be more pain for us, but less for other people.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Oh, let's talk about our protagonists in this story. They would be the Al-Hili family who lived in Claygate, which is in England. It's west of Croydon, northwest of Epsom, so you know exactly where it is, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
South of Twickenham and north of East Horsley.
Great.
About 15, 20 kilometers southwest of London.
Yeah.
And the Al-Hili family was Saad Al-Hili, 50 years old. Born in Iraq, I believe his family moved to England when he was about 9 years old.
I think he might have been slightly younger than that, but
Maybe,
it was somewhere.
yeah.
He was a
Right
very young
there.
boy.
Yeah, he was very young, and along with his brother Zaid and his dad Kadim. Saad is our first protagonist, and Iqbal, 47, his wife, who was a dentist. Saad, by the way, was an engineer. Suhaila Al-Alaf, 74, was Iqbal's mother, would be Saad's mother-in-law. And then their two daughters, Zainab and Zina, who are 7 and 4. Respectively, yes. Also present at our crime scene was Sylvain Mollier, 45 years old, a French guy. A little background here on the Al-Hilis and Mollier. Saad was born in Iraq, as I said. His family moved to England. His brother Zaid still lives in London. Saad, as I said, was an engineer who, quote, worked on satellite systems. It's a little vague exactly what he did, but apparently he worked for Surrey Satellites Technology Ltd, and his employer said that his work did not involve classified stuff. So it's not like he was working on super secret spy
Well, the satellite industry is broad.
It could be weather satellites. It could be the guy worked for a satellite TV company, and
Yeah.
Did he put dishes on houses, or the kind of dishes that put on houses? For all we know.
I think he was a little more higher up than that, but I think that. So and Iqbal, his wife, was a dentist who I believe, but I can't swear on this, was educated in Dubai, and she'd been married before to an American.
Yep, I'd heard that too.
Named James Thompson from Mississippi. According to accounts that I've read, she married the guy just to get her green card. It was kind of a marriage of convenience. I don't think it was even consummated. Things didn't work out, unfortunately, for her in America because her credentials didn't qualify her to work as an actual dentist, and she had to be a dental assistant, which she found kind of, demeaning, I guess, or at least low paying.
Yeah, it's like the doctor that you meet from another country who's driving cabs in this country because we don't recognize all the schooling he did in his home country.
It's pretty sad, kind of a waste, really. As I said, things didn't work out. Eventually, Iqbal moved back to Dubai, later married Saad.
Did they meet in Dubai?
I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, that's a good question. And then we'll talk about, of course, the two daughters.
I think they met in England.
Yeah, it might be.
I remember reading about where they met, and I really feel like they met in England, but I could be
it
totally
could very well be true. That's one aspect of the story I didn't actually research too heavily.
I read it in passing, and I thought, oh, okay, and then it's of course immediately escaped me.
Yeah, and this has actually been much covered in the press, and there's a lot of contradictory accounts. So
Yeah, probably depends on how they want to frame the story.
And then also our French guy, Sylvain Mollier, I'm probably mispronouncing that, but he worked at a company called Cezes, which refines and casts various exotic metals into billets and such for machining into nuclear reactor parts.
But he was a welder.
Initially in the press, though, he was supposed to be like a metallurgist or maybe a senior production manager. It eventually came out that
because those are juicy positions to write about.
Yeah, well, they're juicy because maybe he had nuclear secrets. Maybe that's why he got murdered. But it turns out he was a welder. Which, by the way, that's not necessarily a low-paying, low-skilled job.
Oh God, no, that's high-paying work, right?
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
highly skilled. But also,
I knew a guy who used to go around the world and help construct nuclear reactors all over the world. He made gobs of money doing it.
But it's not really classified No, it's unlikely that you would encounter something in the course of your work that would make you a high-value target
no,
assassination.
He was a welder and he turned big wrenches.
Right.
Which is just very similar to this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he did seem to have money, though, because he was riding a 5,000 euro bike. So, yeah, he was...
bicycle.
That's what I meant, bicycle, not motorcycle. So Molière had been married. He had 2 kids by his previous wife, but he had left her by the time of his death. He had a new girlfriend, and they had just had a baby. Girlfriend's name was Claire Schutz.
And I believe they'd been together 2 years at the time of his death.
Yeah, about 2 years, yeah. All right, so let's start our story. And as you can guess, there's going to be some killing here.
Murder and mayhem.
Why we've got ourselves a mystery. So let's start at the beginning here. September 12th, 2012. The Alhili family were kind of road tripping through France. They'd come across the channel to Calais, France, and then were driving across the country. They had like a BMW station wagon with a big trailer behind it, and then so they were camping at the south shore of Lake Annecy.
Car camping.
That is East France. Yeah, car camping, not really camping.
Yeah. Not tent camping.
Yeah. Of course, I don't know. I mean, their trailer was not huge, so with 5 people in that trailer, maybe somebody did pitch a tent.
You still, I think, not that this matters at all, but I think even if you're in a tent that you just unpacked from your car, it's still car camping, technically. Mm-hmm. If you haven't hiked in.
Oh, you're one of those purists, I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone.
No, that's true, though. But some people do consider, going out in a trailer to be camping. It's not.
Well, it's car camping.
I don't. Yeah. Nothing
it's
wrong
called
with
a
that.
camper, dude.
Yeah.
Back off.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Whatever helps you access nature is great.
Yeah, and go out, and it's a great way to go out and see Europe on a somewhat cheaper dime.
Well, and with 2 young children, it makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, totally. So their trailer was parked at a campground at the south end of the lake. That's Lake Annecy, which is kind of a long, narrow north-south lake. Yeah. And by the way, very pretty, as I've already said, but I'll say it again. Yeah, really nice.
Really beautiful.
I really would like to go there.
Yep.
They got in their car that afternoon to drive around, do a little sightseeing.
And this is important. They left the trailer at the campsite, because I initially did not pick that up, and the story later on became confusing when I presumed they were still towing the trailer.
Yeah. That would have made things even worse for them.
Yes.
Not that things, I don't know how much worse they could have gotten, actually, come to think of it. They said they drove south from the lake to the village of Dussard, where they took about at least one picture, which is how we know they were there. They found the time and date stamp on the photo in their camera. Police did. That was 3:15 p.m. And from there, they continued south to the village of Chevaline. And the main road through the village, you can see this on the aerials, it goes south through the village. And at the south end of town, it goes past a farm and a big barn, sort of heads up into the hills, and it's very narrow.
And it's in the cleft of 2 mountains, that road.
Yeah, it's in a little valley, and there's a stream running alongside it and everything, and it actually goes back and forth across the stream, crosses a lot of bridges and stuff. Very beautiful drive.
Really beautiful.
Yeah, really nice. And but it goes up for several kilometers into the hills before it dead ends. Or I should say, it doesn't quite dead end, but it reaches a small parking area, and past that point, motor vehicles are not allowed.
So you would hike, get out and take a little walk.
A little bit. Originally I thought it reached actually kind of a turnaround and an actual dead end, and then from there were like trails that you could hike on. But I don't know if you guys looked at it on Street View. I sent you the coordinates.
Yeah.
And actually the road continues. It does. You're just not supposed to drive down it anymore.
I believe, don't they like have logs in front of it or something like that to keep drivers from going through?
Not in the Street View that I saw. Maybe they have since then.
Okay, I remember reading something about the fact that there were quote unquote trees in the way, and they were like, we're not going to do anything about that because we don't want you to drive there.
Oh yeah, no, that was there was a big article written. I think it was in GQ about this one. The guy wanted to drive up there.
Yeah, and that's where I got the impression that those trees were down after that turnaround spot.
No, actually, they were well before that.
Oh,
there were some trees down, and then the guy goes back to town and talks to some girl in a cafe, and she says, "Yeah, nobody really goes up there, so so we're not that motivated." But anyway, they're up that road. Along about 3:15, a British tourist on a bicycle was heading up that same road, heading south out of Chevaline. His name was Brett Martin, former pilot with the Royal Air Force.
And British. Royal Air Force.
Yeah, the British. Yeah, he had a summer vacation home nearby, and he was passed also going south by a French cyclist named Sylvain Mollier, who you'll recognize. I mentioned him before. And he was on his very expensive racing bike, as I mentioned.
Oh.
Yeah.
When you said it earlier, I thought you said 5,000-year-old.
Oh.
And I was like, that sounds wrong, but maybe. I'm just going to roll with it.
But
currency. Euro, it cost 5,000 euros.
Yeah.
Very expensive. Got it.
That would be the totally cool, out-of-place artifact mystery for us.
I was just going to let it happen.
I'm sorry.
And then the Chevelle bicycle.
It's probably my fault.
Everyone.
It's probably my fault, my poor enunciation. But yeah, his bicycle cost 5,000 euros, according to one story that I read, which is kind of a shame for Mollier, because if he had a heavier bike like my Trek 7300, which is a hybrid, he probably would have gotten up to the end of the road later, and that might have worked out a little differently for him.
Okay.
That's called foreshadowing.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
So we need one of these. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah,
I was just wondering why he was doing brand placement so much.
Yeah,
he apparently has a sponsorship he's not telling us about.
Yeah, apparently.
I'm making a little money on the side.
It's just how he's paying off the bike.
Yeah, no, the Europeans are actually paying me to promote the Euro, which is not doing so well these days. Okay, but back to our story. The Al-Hili family came along in their BMW station wagon. Shortly after that, they passed Brett Martin going up the hill. It's not actually totally clear who got to the end of the road first, if it was Mollier or the Al-Hilis, but pretty close to the same time. And this was around 3:30 p.m. And as I said before, there's what they call a lay-by, also a wide spot, essentially. Yep. And that's what it is. It's just a wide gravel spot where you can pull off and park your car. Saad pulled his car into that wide spot, nose into the bank, 90 degrees to the road, which violates my number one rule about parking in hinky spots, which is you turn the car around, right?
Yep.
So you can make a quick getaway. He didn't do that. But actually, on Street View, it looks like a really pleasant little spot. So, it's not the kind of spot you'd really worry about getting murdered.
It didn't inspire terror upon arrival.
No, it's not that. It doesn't look like that kind of place, really. So he parks Saad and Zainab, his 7-year-old daughter, get out of the car. And the sequence of events is a little uncertain after this. It appears that they were close to Mollier. So, it might be that they were just saying, hi, nice day, something like that to him. Mm-hmm. And then apparently a crazed gunman with a Luger pistol pops into the scene and opens fire. It looks like Zainab and Mollier were shot first.
That's the daughter.
Yeah. And
the cyclist.
And the cyclist, and the French cyclist. And the crime scene was reconstructed using all kinds of things like shell casings and the blood on people's soles of their feet and various things. So they sort of established,
because it turns into kind of a messy scene.
Yeah, there were quite a few shots fired. But even the police are not 100% certain that they have the actual sequence down. But it looks like.
But this is the best guess.
The best guess,
right?
Yeah.
So the cyclist and the daughter get shot.
Yeah, Mollier went down. I'm not sure about Zainab. She got shot in the shoulder. And then Saad grabbed her, dragged her towards the car. And this is, again, I've read 3 different versions of this. One was he just left her and ran for the car. Another one is he grabs her and drags her back to the car, and then I think you found one, Steve, that said he actually got her into the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. As Saad got into the driver's seat, he was shot in the lower back. And he starts the car, slams it in reverse, cranks the wheel to the left, and floors it. And you can see in the air, there's some helicopter shots of the spot. You can see that the car did a nice, tight little semicircle around.
A full 180.
A full 180 until it slams into the bank. The rear end of it slams into the bank. And that's where it stayed. And I'm not sure if it got stuck. According to one account that I read, when Brett Martin got to the scene, he said it was still in reverse and the wheels were still turning.
Well, I sent you that image that I found. And
I saw the image too, where it is definitely dug in.
It is totally dug in, and you can tell that there's all the dirt has been flung away from the tire, and it looks as if it would have been free spinning at that point.
Yeah, I mean, he might have just sat there because he might have been passed out from shock or blood loss or just being shot.
Well, I mean, it really doesn't matter if you slam the ass end of your vehicle into an embankment enough to pick the tires up a little bit and the ground underneath is soft.
Yeah.
And you are pounding on the accelerator, you're going to quickly dig a hole, and you could be completely conscious, and you're still going to be unable to move because you got no traction because it's 2-wheel drive.
Yeah, but if the wheels were still spinning when what's his name had shown up.
Yeah.
That would be, somebody passed out.
But it
with
could,
their foot
if it's in gear at that point, they're still going to be spinning. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I heard. But then again, I've also heard
lots
that
of different ways.
It was in neutral.
Yeah.
That's again.
And that
semicircle
made the car also run over.
Yeah, he ran over.
Right?
He ran over Mollier, the French cyclist. Yeah, poor guy. He was having a rough day. Like I said, dude. Next time, Trek 7300. But all right, so our gunman steps to the front of the car and he shot Saad again. Saad was shot 4 times, twice to the head, and then Iqbal and Suhaila, the mother-in-law, were also shot several times. Then it appears that our perpetrator walked over to Mollier and shot him again. So in all, Saad, Iqbal, Suhaila, and Mollier were shot 4 effectively. So
2 in the head each person.
Each one got 2 in the head. Yeah.
Which is
go ahead.
Is weird.
Yeah, well, it's that's prompted some theorizing about it being a professional hit.
Yeah.
And Zainab, of course, was shot once in the shoulder. She wasn't quite dead, so gunman,
there was some trauma to her head, wasn't there?
Yeah, he smashed her over the head at least once with the butt of his gun.
Yeah.
Pretty hard, apparently, and
he broke
he broke the grip on the gun.
Piece of the grip off. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that requires a pretty severe blow.
Well, that's intriguing because if you look at a Luger, and this was a Luger, they've established that apparently
based on the piece of the grip that was broke off and the shells. Yeah.
If you look at a Luger, it's actually the grip is kind of up a little bit from the butt of it. Mm-hmm. So you're not actually, when hitting somebody, you're not even hitting the grip on anything anyway.
Well, he could have.
It could have already been sort of aged and cracked anyway.
Well, or
like I said, he could have pistol whipped her.
Yeah.
That's
exactly where I was going to go.
Yeah.
Which is really traumatizing and horrible, but.
Well, it's not. Yeah, she had a traumatizing enough time without getting bashed in the head.
Yeah. Without any of that, but. Wasn't there also another child?
There was another child.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, but anyway, no, the last thing about the grips falling off, of course, the police did pick those up later, and that allowed them to identify the gun as a Swiss-made P06 32 caliber Luger. Mm-hmm. As I'm sure you're all familiar with what a Luger is. They're kind of a classic,
Mm-hmm.
You see them in all the World War II movies.
Yeah, the Germans
it's the classic handgun of the German army.
Oh yeah, they're actually really cool. I like that.
Yeah, they're weird, but they're cool.
They're as iconic as the PP7.
The PP7.
Isn't that what James Bond uses?
PPK.
PPK. That's how much I know about these guns.
Yeah. Like, whoa, Devin went gun nut for? Oh no, she just made that up.
Yeah.
I was close. Come on.
Now, you'll be happy to know there actually is a P7 pistol.
Okay, maybe that's
so you go. That's what you
doesn't matter.
Of. Yeah. No, it doesn't matter. But you were asking if there was another kid. Yeah, of course, we forgot about Zena, age 4, who was in the back seat with her mother. And I don't know if her mom shoved her behind her legs or if she just took the initiative and did it herself. But she hid behind her mother's legs. Her mom was wearing a long skirt, so she hid there behind her mother and was not seen by the gunman. And she stayed there for a long time. The police. Police showed up and they were actually going over the scene and cataloging it and marking it all out and everything. And it was like 8 hours before they finally got around to opening up the car to look at the dead bodies inside.
I had read that it wasn't until some forensic person was going to examine the body that suddenly they realized something else was going on.
So I have questions about that 8 hour number, and this is a tangent, and I'll make it quick, but the way it was written, I initially presumed, I think like all of us did, that it was 8 hours from the time the cops arrived.
No, I don't think
But I think it's from 8 hours from the time the incident happened.
I think so too.
So in other words, so it was about half an hour after the cops arrived.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, just kidding. I mean, the cops actually, I'm sure, got there very fast, but still.
The cops are probably at the scene within an hour or two of it.
But that's a long time.
It being discovered. Well, it's up in the mountains, and a guy on a bicycle has to pedal back to town to report it.
Oh, yeah, probably. Although it was downhill, so it should have been fairly quick.
Although that was a pretty crappy road. I don't think you'd haul on your bicycle. But the point is, it would have taken a while for the cops to get there. In their defense, a little bit, it wasn't as if they were instantly appearing.
Yeah. And again, also in their defense, you would assume that if anybody were alive and when they heard sirens, they would declare themselves.
Yeah, I mean, no, they probably
don't take into account that there's a 4-year-old.
Yeah, but they don't want to trample all over the scene, so they send one guy over to look in the windows and make sure everybody's dead, and and he goes and looks. Yeah, they all look dead to me.
Yeah.
And then he backs out, and they process the whole crime scene, which they
the other thing that
like that,
probably discouraged her from revealing herself. she spoke English.
Yeah.
She lived in Britain. Yeah. And they were all talking in French, so she had no way to know that they were police officers talking about the scene. All she knows is probably some guy yelling French came out of the woods. Well, and now there's more French people or more French voices. I'm not moving.
Yeah, she probably still hates French people.
No.
It's the baguette.
Oh, yeah, the French food. You're right. But I just think, and obviously I'm very sympathetic to this poor little girl, like hiding in terror for all those hours. But also, it's kind of amusing to think of this lab tech or whoever it was that opens the car door, thinking that he or she is going to be looking at a dead body, and all of a sudden it moves. That must have given him a start, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, enough of that.
So so guns go blazing. How many rounds? Because that's
rounds total
contention.
But yeah, I think as far as I can tell, the best guess here is 21 rounds. I've read in other